Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again, and welcome to part one of the Pro Wrestling Weekly Roundup. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing this in pieces, half Thursdays and then half Saturday. So, here we go. We start out with, of course, Monday Night Raw. And we start out with the reunited Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now, obviously I didn't watch SmackDown this past week. I was enjoying St. Patrick's Day with my family. So I did not see the actual reuniting. But I did watch Raw this week. And yeah, it was a great moment. So basically, they come out. It's good to be on the same page again. We're family here. And then out come the Usos. First they look at the WrestleMania sign. Out come the Usos pretty much say, yeah, we're not giving you a title shot. You've been together for like a minute. But then Jay turns to Jimmy, basically says, we can kill two birds with one stone. And Usos agree. So we are 100% getting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the tag team titles. Now, a lot of people have been saying, it's a downgrade for Sami Zayn. Honestly, I don't think it is. Because I feel like under Triple H, the WWE tag titles feel a bit more prestigious than in, Vince's years. I'm really looking forward to this match. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it should main event at least night one of WrestleMania. Just gonna put it out there into the world. No offense to Charlotte and Rhea or Bianca and Asuka. This should main event night one. So first up, we got first matchup, we got Austin Theory versus Montez Ford. Theory took on Angelo Dawkins in a very awesome match. And honestly, this felt like another really big match. This felt like a lot of fun. And it continues the discourse between the Street Profits. Although I do hope they don't split the tag team. I think they could still be a team, but be solo guys. So, Theory wins with a surprise 8-down down, and it was a very entertaining match, and looks like Theory's ready for John Cena. So, we'll see about that. Coming up, we got backstage, we got Adam Pearce. Looks like he's going to make some announcements for the 2 Fatal 4-Way showcase matches for WrestleMania. In comes Chelsea Green. Turns out Carmella is not at Raw this week. I haven't heard any updates on what's going on. So for their tag team match later, it's going to be Green and Piper Niven. So it looks like they're going to be a team. Green then says, I want that spot in the WrestleMania showcase with Carmella. So we'll see what happens there. Next up is the Logan Paul segment. I know it's got a specific name, but I really don't care. Logan Paul then cuts a promo about how, he's going to beat Seth at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike cuts out. Can't hear him for a little bit. He gets a new mic, pretty much says, alright, who's ever messing with me, show yourself. Big screen. Seth Rollins is in the production truck messing with stuff. Hits the button for his entrance, makes his entrance. He does have a mic, but then he drops it, and they just start brawling. And it was pretty good. Seth then dives from the top rope to the outside, aiming for Logan, but hitting his entourage, a.k.a., local indie talent. Let's call them what they are. Then Logan Paul lines up, one punch, one knockout. So that's 2 for 2 for Logan. So I definitely believe Seth Rollins is winning at WrestleMania. So let's go Rollins. Next match we have Dominic Mysterio versus Johnny Gargano in what was a very surprising match. They worked really, really well together. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Dom can't throw punches or whatever. Like, I thought it was decent for what it was. It was pretty much a showcase for Dom. He then goes for a 619, misses. And hits a beautiful frog splash for a clean win over Johnny Gargano, which, honestly, Dom hasn't gotten clean wins in WWE for a while now. So it's definitely good to see him get a clean win here. Would I like to see it against someone else besides Gargano? Absolutely. But I think we can definitely go places. Basically, then Dom gets on the mic, pretty much runs down his father, pretty much saying on this Friday, the entire Mysterio family is going to be on SmackDown. And Dom is going to pay a little visit and threaten his mother. Like, ugh. Ray, I'd watch out for your boy. So he can get his match with his father, Rey Mysterio, at WrestleMania. So, that should be interesting. We get a very awkward Rhea Ripley promo next. She definitely comes off threatening at first, running down Charlotte, pretty much saying she's scared, blah, blah, blah. But then Damage Control comes out for whatever reason. Pretty much Bayley offering Rhea pointers in how to beat Charlotte. And then Rhea says, no, I can do it myself, but considering I'm not in wrestling attire, but I'm ready to fight, who's stepping up? Bayley steps up and has a really, really interesting match, actually. They start out normal, really good back and forth. The rest of Damage Control try to get involved, but then out comes Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. They have a stare down with Io Sky and Dakota Kai. And then a Riptide win for Rhea Ripley. I do kind of feel bad for Bayley in this. I know she's getting her WrestleMania match, but I don't know. It feels a little weird, this matchup. I would have liked to see a little bit of more of a build to it, but it was good nonetheless. Then we have Chad Gable looking backstage for Otis again, and sees he's getting a pedicure and a spa treatment, which, seeing that on that big guy, that's actually kind of funny. Chad Gable wants Otis in his corner for his match against Ricochet, in which he knows Ricochet will be bringing on Braun Strowman. Maxine Dupree then rolls up, pretty much says, Otis, we need more headshots. You could be a hand model, which, that's got to be a reference to Seinfeld at least. And then Otis ultimately goes with Chad Gable. And then we get that match, and ooh boy, that was a lot of fun. Gable and Ricochet have some great chemistry. A lot of high flying from Ricochet, obviously. Surprisingly amount from Chad Gable, which, who knew he could fly really well. About mid-match, Maxine comes to ringside, gets Otis, and takes him to the back, which, those puppy dog guys from Chad Gable. I feel so bad for Chad Gable. Like, dude deserves a whole lot more. Then Ricochet hits a reverse DDT for the big win. That gives them momentum into WrestleMania. Next up, we got the aforementioned match between Bianca Belair tagging with Asuka, teaming up against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. This is actually our main event, so that's kind of interesting. It was a relatively short yet sweet match. Everyone got some stuff in. And then near the end, Bianca Belair lifts Piper Niven up, KOD for the win. That was like I said, short yet sweet match. And post-match, Asuka then takes out Bianca Belair, which honestly, it's been more than about time. Like, this feud has kind of been spinning its wheels a little bit with Asuka and Bianca, and I'm glad we're finally taking a first step, even though it's like a week till WrestleMania. So that's a little frustrating. And now we got our big main segment, a Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, promo off. Pretty much say how, Cody's getting involved in Bloodline business, aka Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And Roman pretty much says Cody isn't the problem for WrestleMania. It's what he represents. He's just a wrestler, while Roman is a megastar, in which he ain't wrong. And he couldn't get it done in his original run in WWE, so he created another company, AEW. Couldn't get over there, and he ran back to WWE, where he's, a pretty well-loved star. And, Cody Rhodes pretty much says, yeah, he's fine with that. He's fine with just being a pro wrestler. But he's going to be the best at it that he can be, and he's going to send the Bloodline crumbling. And honestly, I can't wait for that. It's the right time to dethrone Roman, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Alright, that is it for Monday Night Raw. Now we get into NWA Power, where I did miss a bit of the first match, in which Thrillbilly Silas took on Brady Pierce in a fast matchup, which, looks like Thrillbilly Silas is still gunning for the national title. We then have Daisy Kill and Trevor Murdoch in a bit of a promo off. Trevor Murdoch pretty much saying, you sent your giant against me to take me out. While I'm not medically cleared to wrestle, we can still fight. They both get in the ring. Out comes Talos, Billy Talos, I think his name is, and just destroys Trevor Murdoch. Daisy Kill gets involved. Out comes Mike Knox, of all people. He has recently had a face turn, and he comes out to make the save. Alright, next up we get a Kevin Kelly interview. If you don't know who that is, that's the former Alex Riley. And he's pretty much says, the reason I've been away is I needed to figure some things out. I took EC3's challenge because I thought he could help me, but he's just a manipulative beep. So he's going to go out for the NWA and prove himself. And our main event, which, ooh doggy, this was a pretty damn good one. It is for the final slot in NWA 312 for the NWA Women's TV title, as Taya Valkyrie takes on Max the Impaler. Now Max jumps Taya before the bell rings. They then get in the ring. They start absolutely just trying to overpower one another, which does not work. Double knees from Taya to Max in the corner. And then Max fights back, including a big old lariat for the win. So Max the Impaler is taking on Kenzie Page for the NWA Women's TV title. So that should be an interesting one. We'll see what happens there. Oh, next up we have MLW Underground. And honestly, my favorite match of the week, as we start off with the MLW World title on the line, as Jacob Fatu takes on Alexander Hammerstone. And boy, oh boy, this was the hoss fight of all hoss fights. They threw everything at but the kitchen sink at one another. Tried to use weapons, but I don't think this was supposed to be a weapons match, but whatever. Hammerstone hits the Nightmare Pendulum on Fatu, but Fatu kicks out. Same thing with the moonsault from Fatu to Hammer. And then Hammerstone gets another Nightmare Pendulum in a little later on for the big W. That match was a lot of fun. And honestly, if you don't watch MLW, I think this is the way in, because that match was beautiful. And then the lights go out. Ricky Shane Page, Raven, and Akira then attack Hammerstone. So we got that group going after the world title now, which that's going to be interesting. We then get a Mance Warner interview. He pretty much introduces the rest of his group, the Second Gear Crew. They all got beer in their hands. They're ready for a fight whenever. And then the Raven group's logo pops up behind them. That freaks Mance Warner out a little bit. So it looks like Raven's group and the Second Gear Crew are going to be feuding a little bit too. So that should be fun. And then we had the interesting challenge as Mr. St. Laurent, who is a representative of Microman, issues a challenge to Real One, aka Enzo Amore, for a match with Microman next week, in which, that is made official. So that's going to be an interesting one. We then have Taya Valkyrie and John Hennigan backstage looking for Cesar Duran, who was kidnapped last week by his own guys, which, that's going to be interesting. They then come out for their entrance for Taya's match, including Sam Adonis with a missing poster, which, honestly, that's funny, including a 1-900 number, which, honestly, that's a little weird. So then we got the MLW Featherweight title on the line as Billy Starks challenges Taya Valkyrie. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised Billy Starks had a lot of offense in. She looked really, really smooth, and for her, she's only 13 and she's doing this well in wrestling. Like, that's great. A lot of good back and forth. At one point, Hennigan jumps on the apron. Looks like he's distracting the ref. Starks almost whips Taya into him. They then share a kiss. Billy Starks then drop kicks Hennigan, which that was not right. We then have a Road to Valhalla, which is countered into a roll-up for the two. And then we have a true Road to Valhalla for the win for Taya, who retains her title. That match was a lot of fun, too. I'm glad Billie Starkz now has a bit more of a stage. And hopefully she sticks with MLW for a little bit. Although she has been on like AEW Dark and Ring of Honor recently, so we'll see what happens there. And finally, for the week, we have AEW Dynamite, which honestly, this was a really, really fun show with an insane main event. So we actually open up with the Young Bucks getting loaded into ambulances, in which they were attacked backstage. The rest of the Elite go with them, but Don Callis is keeping Kenny Omega here because he has a match in the main event with Elio Del Vikingo, and we'll get to that match in a little bit because that match was nutty. That was a crazy-ass match. Our first match, though, is a trios match, as we have Orange Cassidy teaming with Darby Allin and Sting, who is having his first match in a while, as they are taking on Butcher, Blade, and Kip Sabian. And honestly, this was a really fun opener, got the energy going. Was it all perfect? No. I could go without Sting no-selling offense. Like, I do understand what he's doing there, but I think he needs to do something a little different there. A lot of nice back and forth between Sabian and Orange Cassidy. Some big old power from Butcher, who... honestly, I think they should push Butcher and the Blade. They are a really underrated tag team. Nice powerbomb neckbreaker combo from Butcher and Blade, which that looked gnarly. Including a big old cannonball to finish it up. Double coffin drop to the outside by Darby Allin. Orange Punch misses. Stun Dog Millionaire. And then a Scorpion Death Drop in which Sting, Darby Allin, and Orange Cassidy win. And it finishes up with a shot of Darby Allin looking at the Double or Nothing sign, as he intends to go after the AEW World title, which, let's do it. Next up, we have the AEW Tag Team titles on the line as the Guns take on Top Flight. I was definitely rooting for the Guns in this. I think they definitely deserve some sort of title run. This match was fun for what it was. The Guns ragdolling all over the place for Top Flight's high-speed offense. We definitely get a nosedive, which that I will always pop for that move by Dante. But then on the outside, Darius gets jumped by the Kingdom, who Top Flight has been feuding with in Ring of Honor. So, a little crossover, which that doesn't hurt. And then Guns hit 310 to Yuma for the win. And honestly, it was a fine match. Not really, definitely very high energy, but then the energy got sucked out of the room by the Guns. No offense to the Guns. I like them as wrestlers, but as champions, they're not really doing it for me. And then out comes the top guys, FTR, coming back, making their intentions known, issuing the challenge for the Guns. Initially saying, oh, if we lose against you, we'll never tag in AEW again. And then Guns pretty much say, no, we already beat you. You got nothing to offer. And then Dax says, alright, if you beat us for those titles, we'll leave AEW. Among the rumors that they're going back to WWE, which we'll see what happens there. So that match is on. So we'll see about that. You then get story time with Adam Cole, baby. He pretty much says he's ready for next week in his return after a very scary concussion at Forbidden Door. He feels great, he's prepared, and he's looking for an opponent. Out comes Daniel Garcia. Pretty much says, you're not that great of a wrestler. What makes you so special? And Cole pretty much says, in the ring, between the ropes, that's what makes me special. And honestly, he's pretty much right. So this match is made official for next week. We got Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. Like, these two, I think, could put on a really, really good match. And I know there's a lot of people who don't really love Garcia, but I dig him. Then we get an interview with Jade Cargill, who pretty much says Taya Valkyrie, who debuted last week on Rampage, cannot use Road to Valhalla, aka Jaded, anymore against her. So that's going to be interesting. We then get Jon Moxley versus Stu Grayson. And at this point, it is speculated that it was Moxley, Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli who jumped the Young Bucks earlier in the night. Nothing is confirmed. But this match, ooh boy, this match was a lot of fun to watch. Stu Grayson hasn't lost a step. And it was, he even went for a 450 splash, which was absolutely insane. He tried going for Nightfall. That got countered into the Bulldog choke. And that leads, that doesn't lead to the win yet. Grayson breaks out of it. Hits a beautiful cannonball in the corner. They are then up top, where Mox rakes the back of Stu Grayson, in which that looks gnarly. And then hits an avalanche Death Rider, which is, this DDT move from the top rope, which that looked gnarly, for the big win. And then we get the Blackpool Combat Club on the outside taunting the Dark Order. And I guess that storyline is continuing. We get a Ricky Starks interview. He's sick of just chatting against a screen with Juice Robinson, and he wants to go face-to-face with Juice on Rampage, which I sadly will not be covering because it's Saturday at 10, and that date and time I will be drafting my fantasy baseball team. So, no Rampage being covered this week, but I will cover Impact, ROH, and SmackDown. So, we will see that. We then get another Hobbs TNT Open Challenge for Rampage, in which he pretty much names Pentagon Jr. His opponent, which that should be another fun one. Next up, we have women's action as Sky Blue takes on Toni Storm. In what was a fun back and forth match, these two had great chemistry together. Very little interference from the Outcasts, which that's okay. I think that's fine. We then get a hip attack, a suplex, and a Storm Zero for Tony Storm to get the win. Post-match, it looks like the Outcasts are going to be doing their spray paint gimmick. Out comes Willow Nightingale and Riho for the save. So we're kind of retreading old ground with that, but it does look like we have a little AEW Originals Alliance coming together. So we'll see about that. It is seen backstage. Stu Grayson is being looked at by the doctors. He is then jumped by the Blackpool Combat Club, which, you know, it does look like the Blackpool Combat Club did take out the Young Bucks, so we'll see what happens through there. And Fire Alamo. Oh, this main event. We have Kenny by God Omega taking on AAA Mega Champion El Hijo del Vikingo, who, if you've never seen him wrestle before, this is your first step in, and welcome. Because this match was everything I wanted it to be and more. I cannot put this into words. Vikingo even countered a One-Winged Angel, which was impressive. They then set up a table on the outside. Vikingo has Omega set up. He hits a 450 from the apron to the outside, which was... Oh my god, this match. I don't know how to explain this match. I don't think I could give it enough credit. But this match absolutely ruled. Omega then hits the One-Winged Angel for the win. And, boy, I do hope they have another match in the future, considering Omega never really lost the AAA Mega title. He had it stripped from him because of his many injuries he had at the time. So, I do hope AAA at least has this match set and ready to go, because I would watch that again. And post-match, we have the Blackpool Combat Club coming out, just putting boots to Kenny Omega. Then we hear, one of the ambulances comes back. And who would be driving it? Oh, it's Hangman Adam Page. And, you know, Page and Omega were AEW Tag Champions at one point. So he comes out. He's got a board with some nails in it, which that looks like Janice from Impact. Blackpool Combat Club bail. We then see Don Callis kind of tap Hangman Page's shoulder, and then Hangman turns around. It looks like he's going to hit him. He doesn't, but then Callis just flops like a fish. Kenny Omega then wakes up and looks up, sees Hangman, and then looks at Don. Don then points at Hangman, blaming him for an attack. And it does look like Don Callis is trying to keep Omega, Hangman, and now I guess kind of the Bucks too, separated. So that Kenny can get back to singles competition, which, you know, I'm not against. I definitely hope Omega is healthy enough for it. But, that was a fun go-home angle. Final angle, including a beautiful match. I got 2 recommendations now. Vikingo Omega is definitely on my must-watch list. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Alright, that is it from me from today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing you my predictions for Impact Wrestling Sacrifice, which I won't be watching on that day because I'll be taking notes for SmackDown, and technically Ring of Honor too, because that's when I watch Ring of Honor. And then AEW Rampage is on Saturday, but at that date and time I have plans. So Saturday I'll be covering Impact, Ring of Honor, and SmackDown. And then tomorrow I will bring you my predictions for Sacrifice, which I am very, very much looking forward to. And then next week, we got some big old shows coming up. We got Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. We got the Impact New Japan Multiverse United show, which looks like a banger. And then we got 2 nights of WrestleMania. I can't wait for this. I hope you're excited for this. It's going to be a busy couple weeks on this channel, and I am hyped. Let me know what you thought about this particular run of shows this week. Let me know what you're looking forward to for the next couple weeks, and I shall see you next time. Peace.